Can AI ever replace sales operations?
Welcome back to Sales Operations for Small Businesses.
I believe that there are aspects of sales operations which when leaders, CEOs, MDs of companies don't know what sales operations is, they have a tendency to get them to focus on. There's aspects of the role like that probably could be replaced by AI. But ultimately, the truer part of the role, no. And so there are a lot of times where people think sales operations is only about tool management. It's about the travel of information from one lead generating tool all the way to a CRM, all the way to something else in marketing again, and all the way into operations, and only just about data management through the system. And so therefore, AI could probably, if you gave it enough information, it could probably tell you what tools would work best for your company based off of the information that you've given it, or at least be able to give you the pros and cons, including how to set it up. Because a lot of these things with tools, if you don't set them up correctly, it doesn't matter how good the tool is. If you haven't set it up correctly so that it actually does align to what your company is supposed to be about, and usually it's not set up correctly because people who are responsible for doing this stuff haven't taken the time to truly understand what the company is supposed to be about, what the benefits they're supposed to be getting are. A lot of the time, the focus is just on the tool itself and that it's fancy and we get a discount right now and everybody's jumping on this trend and la 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 la. And AI would probably be able to logically tell you that this tool is capable of giving you what you need if you gave it enough information. It would probably be able to, again, if you gave it enough information, if you could feed into it data, mass data, it could probably analyze your tool as well. Because I think, I'm not sure if this qualifies, but there was Einstein that Salesforce bought, which effectively had some kind of AI in it. I might be using the wrong terminology there, but that's where I'm coming to. So it can basically look at all of your deals and say, well, if you had a couple more meetings with this client, the chances of you close winning it would rise by 23% or some such. There's those things that AI would be very, very good for, actually, if it was affordable and you could trust it and you knew what data to give it, all of those things. However, the core part of sales operations, which is about reducing friction in order to increase sales, that involves you creating, in many cases, and managing, maintaining, updating, aligning the system that underpins all of the things that the salespeople are doing and the handover to the delivery teams, right? And I've never heard of an AI that can do that. And even if you think of it as an operational structure and something that can tell you when something needs to be maintained or updated rather because something else has happened, it could. But what decisions would an AI make to be able to say this is the most efficient way to update this structure? Bearing in mind, what is using the structure? Humans. If other tools only were using the structure and had triggers to say when this happens, then do this, yes, AI would be incredible. But because you're dealing with humans, that's where I believe it falls down. It might be able to give you a hint. It might be able to give you a couple of options, but you would still have to look at the culture, which as far as I'm aware, AI can't fully understand and describe culture accurately. The humans can. Humans trained to be understanding, to have professional emotional intelligence can. Knowing the culture of your company, how well do we learn? How open are we to change? Do we have a blame culture? Are we undergoing a lot of change right now and people are feeling quite stressed? Are we under-resourced? Which I know everybody in every company is going to say they're under-resourced, but truly, are we squeaking at the seams? What is going on? Because anything that you implement You don't necessarily have to implement everything right now. It can be over time, depending on how it can be received. It's like pouring water through like a really long hose pipe. There's only so much water you can pour through it at a time before it just comes back out this end. And when that comes to people, that means people get angry and upset and things start to go wrong. That's not just spilled water. That's a lot of bad things going on if you try to pour too much water down a pipe. So I'm not worried about AI replacing sales ops. I believe it can help us though. It's a bit like back in the day when people didn't truly understand how to use Google, and you had to be, specific about what you were asking it. And I think that's the same with AI. If you are going to ask it to help you with a presentation, help you with a speech about something that's supposed to rouse people and get them ready for this new great activity, this new great change, it can help you. But you still have to look at that and make the changes and put the feeling into it, put the human back into it, put the intention into it. Because I've seen many things that, for example, ChatGPT can write. And I'm personally trying to get better at it so that it can give me something that's closer to my own tone and closer to my own meaning. Because personally, I can write, but it's one of those skills where it takes me a lot longer than it's supposed to. And supposed to doesn't really have a time, but you know what I mean. So therefore, I don't enjoy it as much. If something else can write it for me and I can edit it, I can edit very quickly. So therefore, that's beneficial for me. And that's me using that for my company and using that inside sales ops when I'm working with clients. So it's not going to replace you if what you're doing is human-based. If the way that you run sales ops, the way that you work inside your sales operations department is based on being an effective human. If it's based on being a tool that's just looking at information and making decisions like that, as in we'll pick this and we'll pick that one, and then we'll make this system exist inside this system. If that's all you're doing, then yeah, eventually it will. You do need to develop your wider skills around decision-making, around strategic planning in order to make the role more rounded for you. But I'm definitely not worried about AI taking our jobs. If you do have any questions, please do join me on Tuesdays. I have free Q&A sessions on Tuesdays. They're half an hour long, and it's great to just come along and be able to talk about what's inside your mind. So it's not like a group in its sense, because you don't have to register for every single one, but you'll be invited to every single one, and you can come on and you can take that opportunity to talk with me about something that's going on in your world that you might need help with. So if you'd like to do that, please go to salesopseffect.com and register there. And then I'll be sending you a link when it's time. See you there.